So now we're going to be looking at good ways to manage our code or to do scoping. To go back in here, I'm just going to make this correct. So instead of let stars equal north star, we would pass stars in. And then we could say stars in here, and that would fix our problem, okay? It would change the state inside of the function, but it wouldn't change it outside of the function, which I actually described in the very first thing, but this is the correct way to handle that situation. So we're going to get into good practice, good scoping practices, whatever, I don't care. Okay, let's just dive right in. Okay, inside the function body of log visible wave, beneath the region variable and before the provided console.log statement, create an if statement that checks if the region is the Arctic. If region equals the Arctic. There we go. If it is the Arctic. Did you add an if statement? Yes. Maybe I need a code block. Whatever. What? Oh, I forgot a T. Fine, be that way. See if I care. Inside the if block, let visible wave lights and set it equal to northern lights. Light waves equals. Define a new let. Let light waves equals northern lights. All right. So this is actually interesting. Okay. So, there are a couple things happening here, and this is why we use let instead of var. So, if this was var and this was var, we know what would happen considering what we looked at a while ago in one of the previous videos. So what's happening here is we define var to be moonlight, and we define var again to be northern lights, and in here it would say moonlight. But we are using let, which means we are declaring a new variable in this situation, and we are assigning it to be a new string, okay? Which means outside of that scope, this does not have access to what is ever happening inside of here, meaning we should see moonlight. So let's run it. We see moonlight. But if I change it to var, actually, I don't know if I'm pretty sure we will see northern lights. Yep. So this is why we don't use var. This is why var sucks. And everyone hates var, okay? Is because the scoping aspect of it is just so weird. It makes no sense. Why would you want this? Why on earth would you ever want this? Seriously. Okay. Anyway, freaking JavaScript. Beneath the variable of the if block, console.log, okay, inside of the if block. So we're just going to console.log light waves. Outside. Okay. So notice how it is now northern lights inside of here, but moonlight inside of there. That's because this is a different variable than this one. We already established that before, but now we're doing the same thing, but in if blocks. All right. What is next? All right, reviewing scopes. We understand scope pollution, how scopes work, what var does inside of different scopes. We didn't go over named scopes. So this is actually kind of fun. So if I say const thing, or I'll say foo equals bar. Okay. Wow, I can clearly type. And I enter in a scope. You don't actually have to have an if statement or anything. And I say const thing equals true. And I say console.log foo thing. This will fail because thing was declared in a different scope. So this is a different scope. Okay. You can declare scopes like this and make it independent. And this is actually a good thing if you're using the garbage collector. To your benefit. If you don't want to muddy up the global scope and you just want something to run once and then you don't want thing to be in a global scope, but you need to have variables there, you do an unnamed scope like this. Or you can actually have a named scope where you say my scope is that. So that's actually kind of cool, where you can have some sort of named scope and you can have another scope, let's make another name scope. Scope 2. Okay. And you can break my scope. Okay. So I'm going to, now here console dot log thing. Okay. So now what do we expect to happen? So I'm going to say console dot log thing. Okay. So we expect to have foo be declared, which actually is not used at all. So I don't care. So in my scope, and the second, it's going to declare thing is true, console.log thing, and then in the second scope, it'll declare, it'll don't do anything. It'll just break out of my scope, and then it'll log thing. But the thing is, we have already broken out of my scope, so it won't actually reach this code. So we just log true, which is what thing is, and it doesn't go in here. So we break out of these scopes. So this is where named or labeled scopes get like we can have some fun with it. So we didn't go over this, but this is a thing that you can do. However, I have never done that before. There's not, I have not had any use case where I have needed to do that. But I have had a use case where I have needed to go inside of here, and like create files and stuff like that. But I don't want to muddy up the global scope. So yeah. So, scopes. Yep. Good practice. More scopes than Codecademy. Oh, I have just realized that it's not Code Academy. It's just Codecademy. Okay. Anyway, I will see you in the next video, which will be something else.